Okay, Nina, we're coming to you. So we're putting aside 5 for the moment, Crystal. Okay? And we're going to look here at this. And if I hit Command and then semicolon, all my guides should go away, but they're not. So let me close this and reopen that PDF. There we go. Are you all doing this with me? Is that the plan? Or are you just going to watch?
We're just going to watch.
Okay. All right. So I'm not going to, you have to type this. And the first thing I check out, and John and I would check out, is if we could click our cursor and grab our type, because we're lazy and we do not like to retype things. And John thinks it's immoral. Right. All right. And they do supply us with this template. But what they didn't do here, so let me just highlight these, 4 lines of type here. And I'm hitting Command C to copy it.
Why'd you highlight it? So
How did I highlight it?
I don't know.
Okay, if you are on this cursor right here where the arrow is, that's a selection tool for text and for graphics. And then I'm going to this top text box here with my type tool active. I'm going to click on the text box and hit Command V for paste or edit paste. And it puts all my text in here. So what I usually do when I have text like this is I start to look at my simplest, smallest text so it'll all display properly in the box for me. And so I'm going to look here, and I don't know the font they're using, but I'm going to observe it's red. I'm going to observe it's sans serif, and it looks kind of condensed to me. Do they tell you?
Well, they tell us which ones are used in the document. You have to figure out which ones.
Oh, they tell you what's used. So they use Myriad Pro, Giddy Up, and Mesquite, and Minion Pro. Minion Pro is a serif font, so that's probably the body copy. Mesquite is the monster font. Giddy Up is the Run for Your Life font. And Myriad Pro is the one that's the condensed sans serif font. So I'm going to select all this, Myriad Pro condensed, and I'm going to make it just an average of, let's say, 12-point type on 14-point leading just to get me started. All right? And actually what I do, who was saying they were frustrated with this? I set my box to the side here. So I can have them side by side as I work. Yeah, John, what?
I found that copying the instructions and pasting them into a text box in InDesign is a good way too.
You know, I've seen you do that as a sidebar, and it is a really smart thing to do, so you don't have to go back and forth. But I'm also so visual that I just end up doing this. Then I see that most of the type is red except Run for Your Life. So I'm just going to go to my color swatch to make everything red to get me started. All right? The other thing I will take note of is the line breaks properly after Children's Museum. But notice that this type is all uppercase and Children's Museum in October and so forth is not. So I'm going to highlight all these 3 lines. I'm going to highlight all the text actually, starting in front of the R for Run. I'm going to put a hard return in front of the R for Run because monsters should be on 1 line. I'm going to highlight all this text, and I'm going to go to Type, and I'm going to change the case of it to title case, which means the O, the C, and the M are uppercase in Children's Museum. And look at that. Oh, here's the problem. This says to make it all caps. I'm going to, because when I just did that, it didn't work, right? Did everybody follow that? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to look, I thought, okay, there's a problem. And if you notice right up here in the character panel, this is specifying all caps, which I don't want. Then what I'm going to start with is I think monsters probably takes up the entire width of the text box. And Tyler, is that right, Tyler? You're Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay. And I heard you say you have problems with it. So the things I'm going to look at here are, is it about this proportionately the right height? How big can I make it to fit that text box? Make sure I have a hard return for it. And I'm going to choose Mesquite right now. So if I type M-E, Mesquite comes up. And then I'm going to just keep making it bigger until it fills that box. I'm just clicking away until it fills it. Yeah, John?
In a lot of these templates that I give you, I've got the fonts set on the side. All I have to do is eyedrop them.
Oh, man, John, really?
I gotta open those templates.
Okay, so this is how I'd approach it. Unlike John, who says, just come over here and cheat with me. So I got this at 72 points, all right? I don't know if it's going to work.
I thought that was way too high of like a font size, so I was just trying to like stretch the letters.
Well, so so a couple things here. One of the things, let's say I made it 72 points, which is probably more like what they chose, to be honest with you. You can do what you're saying, Tyler. You can go to the paragraph panel.
And center it.
And you, right now it's centered. I heard you say that too. Who said that? I can't see you. It's dark. Oh, there you go. Tell me your name again. Marianne. Yes, I heard you say that. The other thing you can do is this, which will make it go from side to side. It's called justify. So right here, I can justify it, and there's a extra letter space here. Can you see that letter space?
Yeah.
I got to get rid of it. But justify means that it's going to send my text all the way across the line, and I'm going to force justify this entire line. See how it spreads it out? But I would look at that, and I would say to you, you have too much space between your letters. It bugs me. I don't think it's attractive. And you're not going to force justify these here, the $20, $5, and free. So I would leave it at centered, just like Marianne said. So I picked 72 points centered. And then I'm going to highlight Run for Your Life and notice that it's black. So I'm going to go back and make it black. And then I'm going to go back to the character panel. And they told me, let's face it, it is giddy up. It looks like a rope, right? And then I noticed that it's almost the same line length, almost the same line length as Monsters. So again, I'm just going to incrementally spread it out till I get to 26 points, which is a little bigger than it should be. And then I don't like the leading. I don't like their leading. So I'm going to increase my leading so that exclamation point does not touch the S but is super close. Yep. And then I don't like, oh, and notice Run for Your Life, the F and the Y and the L are lowercase. So I'm going to highlight that line of type, go to the type panel, change the case to sentence case. So now the first letter R is uppercase and the rest are lowercase. And then I now know the leading from Monsters to Run for Your Life, and now I'm going to go to the Children's Museum line where the Y just clears the top of this line here. So I'm going to take this line, which is at 12 on 14, which looks appropriate to me, to be honest. So I'm just going to highlight the first line here, and I'm going to only increase the leading until it clears the Y. And I look at that, and I think that looks pretty good. All right, so I'm done there. Yeah, John.
That would kind of bother me because
he would send it back. He'd tell me to do better.
because of the photos underneath, and you could do one of two things. You could increase Monsters until it's out to the edge,
Right.
or you could take that whole text box and move it over until it's in line with the photos under it.
Right. So what John doesn't like is the fact that Monster is not left aligning where the text box is, but it is here. Because if we looked at this document on the right, the PDF, what John's saying is that the M in Monsters doesn't align with the text box. And I wouldn't get there yet. I would refine it later, because what I would start to do is I would say, okay, I'm going to copy Monsters, copy it. Actually, I'm not going to copy it. I'm going to just type $20 right now. Type 20. And I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to eyedrop Monsters. Because what I really have to figure out is if the word free is going to work. So if I type free, will it fit in that text box that they provided for me, right? And it will. That's where I'm going to start to tweak my type. But anyway, I'm going to hit a hard return. I'm going to type new exhibits. And you can't see it. And I'm going to eyedrop. I'm going to eyedrop the myriad type condensed. Oops, I had selected my 20 by mistake. And let's see, this is in black. So I'm going to make that line black. And again, I'm going to increase the point size of that line till it looks about the same as the width here of the text box. And my guess is they're going to have chosen, let's say, 18. And again, I'm going to go to the 20 and I drop monsters.
Yeah, I did not need doesn't win. Is that doesn't seem aligned correctly though. Is it?
No, because this is flush left. So what I'm going to select here is highlight it both, go to my paragraph panel and make it flush left. And now it aligns. And I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but what I do see is that new exhibits base aligns pretty well here. I'm going to pull a guide down here. See, why didn't that guide show up? All right, let's try that again. Let's pull a guide down there. Why aren't my guides showing up?
Did you let go inside of the ruler there? The vertical ruler?
I don't know. You pull a guide down. You let the guide go. Oh, maybe I did it wrong. Okay, so now I'm looking at this and I see new exhibits is a little too, it's hanging below my baseline. So what I probably do is highlight exhibits and reduce it from 16 maybe to 14. Reduce the leading. And notice there's a lot of spacing here for new exhibits. So I might open up my tracking. See what happens when I open my tracking and my letters? It's probably a little similar. The other thing I don't like is see the word parking is bigger than the word ticket in new exhibits.
Yeah.
That bugs me too. All right. So now I've got this all set up. So what I would do, because I'm lazy, is I would highlight it all. I would copy it, Command C. I'd hit a hard return and I'd paste it, hit a hard return and I'd paste it.
Now, what
that
is the
didn't work very
feature
well.
That is making it sit on top of each other.
Oh, it's because this letting on new exhibits is 18 and I haven't established a letting for this number here.
It's 14,
Right.
but it's not.
So what I can choose to do is I can do two things. I can do space after this line here, and notice I'm in points, so I'm going to change my preferences right now to inches.
Is there a reason to not just create 3 text boxes?
Yeah, there is a reason.
Oh.
It's a really good question to ask, to tell you the truth. The reason is you're always going to be messing around with different text boxes, and I think it's easier. I think the fewer text boxes you design something with, the better. Personally, how I design this, I'd probably make this all one text box here from monsters on down, and these I would create text wraps, but you don't know about text wraps yet, or they don't know about text wraps yet. Yeah, Tyler.
So I was trying to do the 5 thing, and then like it just like it kind of goes up into the 20.
Exactly. I'm getting to that right now. So right now my cursor is on new exhibits. You see that? And I'm going to go to my paragraph panel, and I'm going to add space after new exhibits, and I'm going to add, let's try a half an inch, just make it really big. So that means the letting, the space between this is super big. So I'm going to hit a hard return, and I'm going to paste my $20.
Space after, right?
I use space after, and it's pretty close. So I'm going to base align this one. Remember how we talked about that? Why aren't my guides showing? I must be doing this on the ruler or something wrong. There. Okay. And I want this, I think, design-wise, I would make it $5 ticket. I would make that sit beside it right here. So I'm going to make that $5. I'm going to hit a forward delete. I'm going to type space ticket. And I'm going to add my space after on the word exhibits, or I can add space before here. It doesn't really matter. So I'm adding space before to get this to a base align there, because that makes me feel better.
Looks like it's more in the center though for the $5.
Well, I think that the $5 is aligning under this too. What do you think?
So you have to leave the base of like the picture with the $5.
Oh, it is more centered. Yeah, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. It is, but I think it's bad design. So I'm fixing it. Right? It's true.
But it doesn't have to be like perfect with like that image though.
Well,
Like,
you
you're just
know,
making your own design really on it then.
am I making my own design? Is that what you said?
For the assignment.
Yes. Yes. If you use John's template, he will, if you have improved it, what I would do is this. This is what I would do if I were submitting work to John, because you know how that goes, right? All right. If I were submitting work to John, I'd say, John, I did not make this exactly like the template because I think the fact that that 5 is floating around centered is bad design. So I made all my type base aligned to the photo on the left of it. And John's going to say, wow, you observed that so carefully. Kudos to you. I am scoring you super duper points for that one.
I think though that I would actually see that originally, because I do pass a lot of those.
Yeah,
you know.
he does.
If there's something wrong in there though, I won't necessarily point out what's wrong.
Yeah, because he wants you to go back and look at it. So the best thing I would do is write John really sweet notes. Hey, John, do you know, I saw this thing and this is why I designed it this way. It was a very conscious effort because I thought they did poor design. And you know what? The fact that you're making these conscious observations is really what this is all about. Because nobody's going to give you a template to design by. Nobody. You're going to be the designer. And then here, I'm going to hit a hard return and paste again my $20, right? And I'm just going to click on the line that has ticket, and I'm going to add space after that line till I come down here. And the text box isn't quite base aligned with this photo, which bugs me also, by the way. So again, I went to ticket, and I'm hitting space after until I get it to baseline. And now it's too far down. So I'm just going to play with this number until I get what kind of looks okay to me. And look at this. Watch this. This is why they didn't base align it. Look how funky weird that looks with me base aligning it to the picture. It doesn't really look very good, does it? Even though we know why we did it, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So if I were to design it, and notice parking's bigger too, which I think is bad form. What I'd probably do is this. I'd probably center it to each image now. Now that I look at it, I'd say I'm going to center it instead. And so these are centered. Now I'm going to change my space after the word exhibits at the top and decrease it till that's pretty centered. And now I'm going to go to ticket up here, and I'm going to increase the space after till that looks centered there. And now if you look at it, it looks better centered, right? And that's what you end up doing it really as a designer. You just end up messing around with it until you decide what's the best way visually to pull it off. Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I don't know if I was messing up something, but it doesn't seem like all of it lines up like correctly, like the free. Like
No,
free doesn't-
well, first off, here, let me fix my word free. F-R-E-E, there we go. And the reason they made the word parking bigger is because parking looks funny in this smaller font.
Yeah.
So I'm going to increase the size of the word parking to be the same line length as the word free, which turns out to be 24 points. And notice that this is a little deeper than the other one here. So what I might do is, again, center it to the box. So go to the ticket, go to my paragraph panel, and probably make that a little smaller, like 0.8, and let that shift a little. But that didn't work. We want this one. There we go. Does that help you guys with this type, how we're evaluating it? Do you want me to keep working on this?
Can you just talk about that drop
Oh, talk about the drop cap, yes.
and how you, I just put in a space.
Okay, so here's this text box, and I'm observing my PDF file on my right side. And I'm noticing my content is serif font. The font is black. I'm noticing the drop cap is 3 lines deep, and it's red, and it's the same font as Monsters. And so the first thing I'll do is I'll take this box. I'll go to Object Text Frame Options, Command V. I'll change it to become 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. And the default gutter, what have we got here? This looks funny. The default gutter, I never leave default gutters because I don't think it's appropriate. I usually would never have less than 1/4 of an inch, so I'm going to make mine 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to fill my text here with placeholder text, and it gives me all that Greek and Latin stuff.
Wait, how do you do the column?
Object Text Frame Options, and then alter your gutter. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select my type, and notice there's a space after every paragraph. So I'm going to select my type, select all, Command A, go to my paragraph panel, and hit space after my paragraphs. But this is all one paragraph, so I'm just going to fake out paragraphs here randomly so I can create something similar to my example. I'm looking for an uppercase letter here. Hit a return and make a Q. And now I'm going to select all and reduce my space after because it's over the top. Watch out for this overflow here. If you put your cursor at the end of this line of type and I hit a command and a shift and the end on an extended keyboard, it's going to select all my type that I can't see. And because it's just fake type, not a real story, I can delete it. Okay, you can't randomly delete stuff out of people's stories, okay? Then I'm going to click on my first paragraph here to make that drop cap. And the drop cap shows up in the character panel. So I go back to the A for the character panel. And because I'm visual, I'm looking for the drop cap. And I don't see it here. So I'm going to go to type character panel here. And I was wrong. It's in the paragraph panel, but I didn't see it here. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, paragraph panel. So I click anywhere in the paragraph. Here I'm going to make my cap drop 3 lines deep. There we go. And what was your question? Yours didn't work well the first time?
Maybe when you change it to
Mesquite.
that those first
Let's
letters
see.
of the first 3 lines.
Let's see what
jam
happens.
up against
So we
it.
change it to Mesquite, and the letter of the first 3 lines jam up against it. So what Teresa doesn't like, stylistically, is how tight this is. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, I see. Compared
so
to
I
theirs.
inserted a space after the N
And
told
it threw
to-
you off.
Well, and then I told it to make.
You did that, and it didn't do
2
anything. Look.
No, because you have to drop cap 2 characters at the top. Under
Right.
paragraph.
Right here?
No.
What do you?
I'll just say
3
like
characters.
3 lines.
3 lines.
But 2 characters, so now it's.
Oh, it instructs you to do 2 characters?
No, that's how I fixed it.
Okay, we'd nail you. John would kick it back and go, there's only 1 character drop cap. Why'd you do 2?
But it's a space. How does he know that it's?
Oh, I
was moving
see.
it to
Oh,
get it
you
together.
outsmarted this. So Teresa did this. She added a space, and then she told it here. Wow, you're pretty clever. To make this 2 characters wide. But that, and then you made this character a space. Is that it? No, it doesn't work.
Did.
It didn't work.
Mine
Yours
shows
did.
an M with a dot next to it and then the 3 lines.
Huh. Well,
Why?
yeah.
I left mine like that. I
You left it.
couldn't-
I'd leave
yeah,
it too.
couldn't
I
put
wouldn't
it.
mess with it. You do the same thing.
No, yeah, there's just a little space thing up there. The little A and the B that just separate a little bit.
Oh, you added kerning.
Uh-huh.
That's
I
called
highlighted
kerning.
that and I just
You added kerning like that.
Yeah.
Oh, and it kerns the whole line.
Kerned all 3 lines. Nina, you get 100% on this already. That was that was exactly what you're supposed to do. It was perfect.
I highlighted the end, and then I went to the kerning where there's the on the
You just click between the 2 letters.
the A and the B, and there's that little arrows
Right
the
here.
instruction to separate it, and I
Mhm.
separated it twice a couple.
It's exactly what you do. Exactly. It's perfect. And then everybody had an okay time placing the monster images? Nobody had trouble with that? All right. Did you raise your hand, Alberto?
How do you get that ghost
Alberto,
image?
did you raise your hand? No? No. Okay.
That ghost image? 'Cause
The
I
drop
could see-
shadow?
yeah, when you were
Oh,
trying
it's
to
totally
find the
fun.
points. I could
Um,
see it once and
all
then
right.
it just disappeared.
well, let me place my monster. Command D. Place my monster. Let's find chapter 4. Is it here? Didn't I see it? There it is. Find the monster. Find the monster. EPS. Notice EPS. So he's a vector graphic, probably, but with fancy things done to him, like drop shadows in the artwork. Okay, and then notice here that you have the whole image showing, and here in this one he's cut off. So with this box active, I go to Object Fitting, and I'm going to fill my frame proportionally. And then I've got my whole image filling up the box, but it's not distorted, which is super important. I will kick something back entirely, so will John, if there's any distortion, okay? And then the question was, how did I put the shadow? Well, this one already had a shadow. Let me put the shadow on the wavy line. So here's your wavy line active. You go to the effects panel up here, add an object effect to the selected target, or you can go to Window and Effects here and get an effects panel, same thing. And you still gotta go down here to Effects, the FX, and you find Drop Shadow. And I turned on Preview so you can see it, and the default is right here.
Okay.
And-
Actually, my question is that when you go to the smaller rectangle or squares, you're supposed to just kind of find the part, right?
Yes.
Like the tail.
Oh, how did I place the monster in it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
Here.
I got it, but you showed us that there's a way to kind of see the whole image.
Yes,
when you're
I'll do it
placing
again.
Yeah.
So here's the graphic. If you click on this, this is new to CS5 actually. See that little donut hole? That's called the content tool. So if I click on it, even though I have my black arrow active, if I click on this little donut circle in the center, it changed the outline to brown, which means it's dealing with the content. And now I can go to Edit, Copy It. Now I can go to this graphic box and I can go to Edit, Paste into that box. So it's pasting into that box. And now if I click on it in the center and I hold down my mouse,
Right in the center. Okay.
and I'm going to use my white arrow because I prefer using that. If you use the white arrow, that's the direct selection tool. That's going to deal with the content. So as I hold the content and I hold my mouse down,
Okay.
it shows me the image. And now I can move it around and put the eye in there. And now I can click on this box again, even with my white arrow, go to Edit, Paste into, hold my mouse down. I'm going to put the crab in here. And click and make that active, go to Edit, Paste into, hold my mouse down, and I'm going to put a foot in here right now.
Okay.
I'm holding it down, but it's not showing up. Here. There. Now it's showing up. There. Toenails. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And don't forget that observe everything that has shadows. And then what I'd probably do before I submit it, even though you're always in a hurry, I know, I'd probably click off of everything and I would look and I would compare the two. And I'd say, okay, is Monsters red? Yes. Is Run for Your Life around the middle of the R and it ends at the S? No. Looks like I made mine too small, so I might make mine a bigger line length so John doesn't nail me. And then I'd look at Children's Museum and I'd say, okay, do I have the centered and the essence This looks tighter and bigger. I think my design's nicer, but I don't know. Maybe I'll increase it a little. And then I'd look at whether these are centered, and I think the solution was leave them centered. Then I'd start to observe, okay, did I make my letter red here, drop 3 lines? Yes. Do I have drop shadows? Is everything filled? Yes. I forgot the drop shadow on the star. I go to the star with my black selection. I see you, Tyler. Hang on one sec. And added my drop shadow there. Then I look at it one more time and it says, put your name here. Did I put my name here? Nope, guess I didn't. Better put my name there. Okay, Tyler.
So for the little boxes,
Yes.
I just like I think the picture on yours is like smaller than mine for like, and because like there's more green space in between there.
On my smaller one or my big picture?
On the like smaller pictures, because like when I place the picture again into the smaller boxes to try and like get the eye in there, it's a lot different size. Did you?
Well, you know what? Let's look. Okay. So I have my white arrow selected. I'm clicking on my big monster box, and notice it got fit. Remember when I went proportionally fit?
Oh, so you dragged the one from your big one.
I copied it. So this is 73%. So watch. With this selected with my selection tool, I went to Edit, Copy. And because I want this the same size, I clicked on my little box over here. I clicked on that. And again, it pasted it at the reduced size. So if you've already placed them, you don't need to replace them. What I would do, Tyler, is I'd click the big one, look at the percentage you placed it at, make sure your whole image shows, and then click on this one and make this percentage. Make sure your chain link is selected so it's proportionate, and then you can just reduce the size of it.
Okay.
All right?
But the best way to do it looks like just going, like, taking it from
Doing it, yeah, it's easier. Then you don't have to resize all the time. Are there anything else with monsters? Yeah, who's raising their hand? John.
What'd you do to fit that whole picture in that big box?
Oh, that's a good one. I clicked on the box, and I went to Object, Fitting, and I filled the frame proportionally. And the key word is proportional. Okay? If I fit, watch this. Everybody look up here. If I fit the content proportionally, it might change my percentage. It didn't, because this monster was designed for this box. It was designed exactly for the size. But if I click on this little box and I go to Object Fitting and I fit the content proportionally, look what happens. My monster image gives the whole image as much as it can fit in the size of that box. Here's the difference. This is fit proportionally. This one is going to fill the box, bless you, proportionally, which fills the box. And I have, if you notice here, a little bit of overflow image, but it hit all the boundaries of the box. That's the difference.
It didn't change the.
It changes, right, but never change the proportions. This one, if I fit it in, I want my whole image, it makes it all fit in my box. But again, if I go here and I go to fill my box proportionally, it'll give me as much image as I possibly can. See, and I can have it overflow that way. How'd we do? Okay, so poor Crystal. Yeah, we got more on the monsters?
Yeah, just like, I don't know why, but it won't let me, like, whenever I try and copy it from my already proportionally filled one,
You have to empty out this box first. Get rid of your graphics in here. Delete that,
yeah,
delete
they're all
that,
deleted.
delete that.
Yeah, they're all deleted. I don't know
Okay,
why.
copy this one, edit copy, make that box active. Let me show you my boxes. Make it active and go paste into.
Oh, paste it.
Okay? All right, let's get to what Crystal has is curious about. So we are going to look at the PDF file for Chapter 5, which is totally fun. And you have to either do here to submit this assignment B or this assignment C, either or, B or C. You could do both and we'd love you forever. And you can also choose either to do E, which I personally find is a complete nightmare.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do this, and I would never design it the way they did. I would never use a table for this design. I think it's really not smart, personally. And then there's this, not that I have a bias, this incredibly fun one, which is the calendar, page display, rotate view, counterclockwise, there we go, which is this one, which I think is far more intuitive. And your problem, Crystal, was it didn't give you the file for it?
It's not the actual, it's not the assignments that I'm having problems with. It's just that to walk you through the chapter how to do everything, it asks you to open up a demo file, and I couldn't get it in my folders.
You didn't receive a demo file?
It's called, well, I didn't get any of the demo files, but it's called tabsdemo.indd.
Okay, well, let's take a look. Let's look. Alrighty. So we downloaded zipped. We're going to have a resources folder. Tabs demo, INDD. You didn't receive this, is what you
No,
said?
I just re-downloaded it yesterday, but maybe,
And it didn't have it in it?
no.
Well, come
But
bring
I
your
just
little
downloaded
flash
that.
drive over here and you can use this one.
Okay. I don't have a flash drive, but I can just re-download it.
Yeah.
I just got it today.
Yeah. You know, Fun of the Sun, I think, is they don't even give you a document. All they do is give you the AI file, the Illustrator file for the Fun in the Sun. And I will demo this on Monday. I will walk you through it. Tabs and tables is really hard, but it's phenomenally valuable. It's great because it helps you set up tables in InDesign, which you would use for charts. You might use for annual reports you design, calendars. They're quite wonderful. And John doesn't use this in Dreamweaver, but there's lots of tables used in Dreamweaver, which I think is going out of date. You do use tables, and by
Not for layout.
oh, not for layout. For learning tables in InDesign helped me enormously when I did web design and set up tables. So it's really valuable. It's really valuable. It's a little confusing, but once you understand it, you won't be flustered at all. So I'm going to stop the video.